We're really disappointed with Obama because on February 5, 2009, he wrote an executive order that amends 13199, Bush's original thing. And all he did was he established the President's Advisory Council for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships instead of community. He just changed the name. And then he did that as the prez. And so he calls it the council. And he has 25 members on it that serve for 1 year, and they're reappointed at the direction of the president. And this is set up for 2 years, unless he renews it. So this is his mission. The council shall bring together leaders and experts in fields related to the work of the faith-based and neighborhood organizations in order to identify best practices and say blah, 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 blah. Pretty much the same stuff. And he set up 6 task forces. One of them it's about fatherhood. One of them is how to reduce unintended pregnancies in teenagers. And it just goes on and on. We're also concerned that we don't think he's following FACA, which is something the Center for Inquiry wrote some legislative language on. FACA is the Federal Advisory Committee Act, which allows the public to sit in on these meetings. The out for them is that if they're organizing, they don't have to let us in the room, and so they've spent like the whole year organizing. So we just got to like our first meeting. We sat in the first meeting, which was the report of the 6 task forces that they were going to present to the president. And we were very, very disappointed in the reports. It was like everybody was on the faith-based bandwagon, and they want to put faith-based offices now in every embassy in the world. I mean, they just want to expand, expand, expand. So it's really a pretty crazy thing. And it's something that we're monitoring and we're not real happy with him about. So I'm through on that. I'm through with all that. And so I did put this up here, which is the provisory refusal or conscience regulation. Oh, this isn't about spiritual care. You wanted to know about spiritual care?
Well, yeah, I just wondered what's going on in that area. I mean, does it have to do with things like what kind of end-of-life treatments are available to you and that kind of thing?
Actually, that's this, which is why I put this up here. This is the provider refusal clause, which doesn't have to do with the health care bill. And this is something else that we've written a rescission order on that we've been totally ignored on, and we're really upset about this. So this is a rule. There are these 3 federal statutes, the Church Amendment, the Public Health Service Act, and the Weldon Amendment. And collectively, in material part, the statutes provide that certain healthcare workers and entities cannot be discriminated against if they refuse to engage in, provide, pay for, or provide coverage of certain activities or procedures, in particular abortion and sterilization. Now, when this first came out, they were just going to institute this. They weren't even going to ask for public comment. So that's the first thing that we found out about and that we really lobbied against, and we said, you have to. It's a law. You have to do this. So we got them to open it up, and when we first read it, for public comment. And when we first read it, the definition of abortion was so broad that it could include all birth control, which, you know, we didn't think that they were innocent in that. We thought that they knew what they were doing. And so we got them to change that. And then we asked everybody to make comments to, this was one of the places where we wanted comments to be made to the Health and Human Services Department. And actually the coalitions themselves, many coalitions worked on this. This wasn't one coalition, lots of coalitions worked on this. We got over 225,000 comments driven to their website that they had to consider. However, it didn't matter because they passed it anyway. But this is the regulation that is so broadly written that it would do away with your end-of-life wishes. There are specific examples in this regulation that say a janitor doesn't have to clean the floor at a hospital if an abortion was performed there. If you're in a rural area and I'm a receptionist, and I'm whatever religion it is that decides that you have to have children no matter what. And you call me up, and you're a male, and you say you want to have a vasectomy, and I'm opposed to that. Also, the way this regulation is written, it's not just religious. It's religious or moral. So I always think about, like, well, what if you got in a fight with somebody and you pissed them off, and they decided that morally they didn't want to provide you with this, that this would allow them an out. So I'm a receptionist. You call up. I not only don't have to make an appointment for you to see the doctor, I also don't have to tell the doctor that you're trying to get an appointment. I don't have to refer you anywhere else. I don't have to let anybody know about this. And it originally started, and this is in a lot of states, and it originally started with birth control and the emergency contraception. And then many of the laws were written so that the pharmacists could refuse, but that they had to refer you to somebody else. Well, now under this, if you turn in your prescription and they don't want to fill it, they don't have to give it back to you. Not only don't they have to fill it, not only don't they have to refer you, they can keep your prescription. I mean, it is outrageous. So our position is that there's no evidence that the regulation is needed. The proposed regulation cites no factual support for its supposition that healthcare professionals are at risk of being subject to illegal discrimination or that persons are discouraged from entering the healthcare profession because of concern about discrimination, which is what they state. This is CFI's positions. The regulation's rationale is based on a thorough misunderstanding of employment discrimination law as applied to workers outside the healthcare professions. The regulation provides far greater rights to healthcare workers than are enjoyed by workers in other professions while improperly discounting the rights of patients. But you know that over a third of the hospital systems in the United States are owned by the Catholics. And you know that when you check into a Catholic hospital, all that little small print that you sign says, we're not paying attention to your dying right wishes. And that's going on today even without this. And I think that most people don't know that, but it's really something that you should let everybody know about. Because Catholic hospitals, the final authority for them are the bishop or the archbishop of the district where they reside. They're not called districts, whatever they're called. I know this because when I was in Florida and I worked down there, we were taken over. And they take over in a stealth way. They now don't just own the hospitals, but they create alliances. They call them buying alliances so that they all get together and join this alliance so that they can buy things for cheaper. Except that they all have to, all the hospitals that agree to join the alliance agree to abide by Catholic precepts and the rules of the bishops. So the absence of a specific scientifically supported definition of abortion and or sterilization will cause confusion and could result in contraception misunderstood by some as a form of abortion being included as a service to which healthcare providers will object. And that's the end of my slideshow.